honey bees. Hey, honey bees. All right. I am back. It's your girl Maya, and welcome to my channel. Um, I really appreciate you turning in, and I appreciate all those who have viewed my videos. Um, just thank you. Thank you. Um, if you'd like, you're welcome to like the video, share, subscribe so you know when I do my next posting. I usually record these because I am now just getting used to being on camera. This is a scary thing for me. And so trying to go live would be even scarier. So I haven't really taken on that step with YouTube. I do a show with my husband called The Tea, and we do it together, and it's much better because I have someone to bounce off. So, I'm not as intimidated by the camera and doing things live, but it's just me. It's just me, honeybees. And so I'm doing it, and I'm doing it scared. This year, 2020, I'm doing a lot of things that I didn't think that I would do, that I'm terrified of doing, that I don't know how to do, but I'm just jumping out there. YouTube is one of them. So here I am, and here we go again with another episode of just my thoughts that I thought I'd share with you, right? All right. So last video, I think we talked more about taking responsibility. This video I want to call, title it, It Could Be You. It could be you. I titled this because I just wanted to talk about some of the things that I've been seeing around this realm, seeing what people posting on Facebook. And it really seems that there's a lot of garbage, insensitivity, ego, vanity being played out in a lot of people's lives. And I believe, now I could be wrong. These are just, come hang out in my lounge and talk with me. These are just my thoughts. And a lot of people are starting to lose hope more and more. I see younger people contemplating suicide or just living just reckless lives that can, you find yourself in places that you never thought you would be, and people saying, wow, I would have never thought that would have happened to that person, or she was so strong, or he was a good person, and what went wrong. So I just kind of wanted to talk about, when we decide what we allow in our lives, it's not really sometimes that we are purposely or consciously inviting it, but it's whatever that is inside of us that's gravitating towards these things. And so that's why I said it could be you, because my story, I know it was me. I didn't think it was me, I just thought it was the other people around me. Everyone else is going crazy. And sometimes that is true. But when you recognize what you're giving out is coming back to you, at some point you have to stop and take a hard, good look at yourself and say, hey, what kind of vibe am I sending out? Because everything seems to be against me. Everything is just coming to attack me. And it's not always because you're this ray of sunshine and they're hating on you. Sometimes you do have to step back and look at yourself. Look at yourself on the inside spiritually, and look at your mindset. And really be honest with yourself about how you feel about yourself. What you think your purpose is. And try and garner, with that purpose, who does it serve? Because really, we are in this realm to serve others. We're not here to be self-servant. We're not here to feed our egos, our vanity. All of that goes. We're here to serve one another. And so when you lose sight of that, you lose sight of yourself and your assignment here in this realm. So you really need to step back, like I said in my last video, and look around and see what you are inviting into your life, what you are allowing to come in. And that's usually based on how you truly feel inside, your core, that deep, dark place that you don't go look at, that you're scared to tap into and find out who you really are and how people really see you because of what you're putting out into this realm and what you're showing them. You know, like a attracts like. If you're sending out bad vibes, 9 times out of 10 the people around you got those type of vibes on some kind of level, and you kind of click. Why? Because you comfort each other in your foolishness. You comfort each other in your madness. I can look at you and say, oh, well, this is just how it goes. Her life is like that. His life is like that. My family's been like this forever, and use that as an excuse. But at some point, you got to want to rise above all of that. And like I talked about before, it is scary. It's fearful. It's uncomfortable because now you're pushing past your boundaries. You're going into another place in your life where you might not be able to take anyone else. You might have to walk alone for a while. And a lot of people don't want to do that because they don't function well alone. They've never had that alone time, that time where you just sit and you contemplate your own thoughts and your own feelings and be truthful down to the nitty gritty, even when it's ugly. Sometimes you got to cry about that thing, and it's okay because those tears cleanse everything that's going on so that you can see clearly. So you need that in your life, right? So with coming into your own, you must recognize emotions. And this is something that I was thinking about the other day because I always ask God, I'm like, these emotions, why do they feel so tangible when they hit you? Why do your body react to emotions and you feel like it's an actual thing that can sit on you, go inside of you? And I got the answer because they're spirits. The spirit of anger, the spirit of fear, the spirit of worry and anxiousness. They're spirits that take over or come into you, sit on top of you, whatever it is, and you feel that thing as if it was flesh, right? And it's sometimes hard to shake those things. I went through a period of 7 years, and I'll share the story later on, of a spirit of anger that I could not shake. And I know it was a spirit because I felt like me, almost like that movie Get Out, when he was drinking the tea and he ended up in like a dark hole and the other person emerged. That was me. I was in a hole and I was watching myself from the outside, and this spirit of anger was wrecking everything. And I was in this hole watching it happen and couldn't do anything about it. It had taken control of my whole life. And so that's why I believe that they are spirits that come in and out. Even you could be having a good day and all of a sudden you feel this thing just come over you, like an anxiousness or like a sadness out of nowhere. I think those are just spirits going in and out and moving. And when you recognize these things are happening and you battle them and you address them, because now what I do is I stop and I say, hey, why am I feeling this way? What is going on right now that this thing has just come over me? And I rebuke it immediately. And then I make up in my mind that no, this is how I want to feel and this is how I'm going to feel. And sometimes it's putting in work. But after a while, that thing gets up off you. Even sometimes I'll, if I feel anxious or I feel fear out of the blue for no reason, what I do, which is very effective for me, really works for me, is I start saying in my mind, either out loud if no one's around, what I'm grateful for. I'll start naming off everything I'm grateful for every cell, molecule in my body. I start just going through everything that I am grateful for every penny, dime, nickel that has ever crossed these hands. And I find that by the time you get to 10, your spirit is uplifted. You start feeling better because you start thinking about all those things that you are blessed with, all those things that have poured into your life. Right? So then it changes your mindset, and that thing has to get up off you. It can't stay. Light and dark do not exist together in one vessel, right? It's going to be one or the other. You can't be both. So I just want you to be mindful of that about emotions, because our emotions, boy, if they come in and they're able to take over that vehicle, we don't know where you'll end up. Emotions have taken people to the depths of hell based on emotions that don't even belong to you, right? So, speaking of emotions, what we're going to do right now, what we've done in the last two videos, is we are going to take off those things that do not belong to us. It was a hard day this week. You know, we went through, we worked, we dealt with the children or the grandchildren, the husbands or the sisters, the family, whatever it was. Right now, we're going to take that off because it doesn't belong to us. So I want you to take a deep breath in, blow it out. Yes. Breathe it in, blow it out. And what we're going to do is we're going to release all the toxins. We're going to release all the negative energy that tried to attach itself to us, or that we invited in unknowingly, or that we participated in because we couldn't help ourselves. So we are going to take off anger. We're going to take off disappointment, shame. We're going to take off hate, vengeance, manipulation. We are going to take off poverty. We're going to take off ignorance. We're going to take off, what else are we going to take off? We're going to take off divisiveness, separation. We're going to take off illness, sickness. None of that belongs to us. Fear, worry, anxiousness. Take it off. Release it. It doesn't belong to you. It doesn't. The backbiting, the belittling, it doesn't belong to you. The shame. Take it off. It's not yours. Those emotions, the sadness, the depression. Take it off. Breathe it out. Push it out. It doesn't belong to you. Let it go. And what we're going to do is we're going to smile. And we're going to accept the Father's love, grace, mercy, put it on, understanding, communication, building, strength, courage, joy, abundance, prosperity, wealth, honor. We're putting all of that on. Change for the good, the positive vibrations. We're putting on kindness. We're putting on humility, right? We're putting on service of others, philanthropy, generosity. Those are the things that we're going to put on. Those are the things that are going to get us through. Those are the things we're going to invite and invoke into our lives. Life, truth, correction. Those are the things that we need to hang on to. Those are the things we need to garner with every cell of our body, right? So put those things on. Put that mindset on. The mindset of Elohim, the Father, who gives life to all things, right? So now that we've put those on and we've meditated about that, and I encourage you to do this in the shower. I love doing it every morning in the shower. As I'm cleaning myself, I'm taking off all the negativity, and I'm saying it out loud when I'm taking off. And then when I'm under the water and I'm letting it rinse, I just invoke, invite, and I receive all of the positive things, and I name them off. And it feels so good, like I've put on the armor of God, and I am ready for the day. So I encourage you to do that. So moving on, now that we have done that and we talked about those emotions and we've taken off those things that do not belong to us and we've thrown them back out there into the world, to that realm that it lives for, that we're not going to deal with, and we put on God's love and grace and his mercy and his health and courage, power and authority, we are going to talk about how strongly we come at others when we feel that they have done us wrong. We're good at coming at people, right? Y'all good at coming at people, shutting people down, right? Because what you're putting out there is And what you're perceiving from the other person is actually a reflection of yourself. And I had a conversation with my mom once, and I don't know, she got into a disagreement, an argument, with one of with my granddaughter's uncle, I believe it was. And she was so upset, and she called me and she was upset, and I said, don't play into that. Well, he said this about me and he said that. When people start to tell you who you are without knowing you, what they are doing is telling you about themselves. It's not a reflection on you. I don't receive that. I know who I am. You can say all you want, this and that, but what you are really telling me is what you are, who you are. These vile words that you spit at me just tell me where you stand. It has no reflection, no bearing on who I am. I'm going to walk in my truth. I know who I am, and I know who I am because I've done the work. And so I can easily just set that aside and say, what they're doing is showing me who they are. I can pray for them for these things because I see that, they're into manipulating people. I see that they just want to do what they want to do. It doesn't matter if it's right or wrong, and the excuses that they give, it's fine. They just haven't got to that part of their journey where they're doing the work on themselves. And so it's easy for me to just walk away. But I've gotten to a point in my life that I don't even walk away because I don't have those kind of people in my life. Like my mom, on the other hand, I don't care. I tell her all the time. She's a drama queen. She wants to be in the action, the mess. And then she gets upset when her feelings get stomped on. When you don't have to play the game. What are you doing in the ring? Don't call me crying and so-and-so said this, I tell my mom and other people, you're participating. It takes two to do this dance. And if you don't accept the foolishness and just walk away and be like, your life starts, you start to garner and understand what peace is really like because those things just start to fall off. My even my mom, sometimes she calls, I ain't got time for that. I'm shutting it down because you're participating. You must like this, right? You must like it. Because I don't get any phone calls. Why? Because I have set the grounds and the foundation of how I'm going to live my life. And I sent that out by action with my family and with my friends. You get shut down, right? So now I have one friend and I have my family. But they only call me. My mom every once in a while calls me with foolishness. She tests me. But sometimes I'll let it go. But I tell her the truth about herself in it. And she don't like that. She'll change the subject real quick, right? Because I want her to see her reflection. This is you. This is about you. I don't care about the other person. You participate in this. And you're telling them that, yeah, I'm going to tango with you. We're going to do this back and forth. And what I'm telling you, and just like I tell my mom, what you're telling them, when you're going back at them, all you're doing is showing a reflection of yourself. And I'm seeing this in the conversation that you're having with me. It's you. You're messy. Get it together. Don't participate in these things. They've shown you who they are. They've told you who they are. If you choose to go down that rabbit hole with them, be ready to pay whatever consequences at the end of that road because you're going to have to pay to be the boss, right? Okay. So, with dealing with yourself, I have all these little notes and stuff. Casting your insecurities on other people. Makes it for a difficult road to go forth in relationships. And I don't just talk about relationships like man and woman, any relationship, including relationship with money. Any relationship, and you are throwing and owning, you're throwing and making or trying to make others or other things reflect your insecurities because you don't want to deal with self, right? So you have to own your insecurities. Number one, you got to know what they are. So that's that work you have to dig inside and sit down and really look at your life, look at every area of your life, and find those places where it's just like a whirlwind, like things just, a train ran through it. And then you need to ask yourself, what's going on? How did I participate in this? How did I allow this to happen? Was it that I just couldn't walk away? Did I have to have the last word? Did I have to participate or do it this way or say it this way? You have to own your part of the puzzle, your piece of the puzzle. You are responsible. You have to take on your own insecurities and turn that thing around. Work on that thing, one thing at a time. Because I know when I did my work, I had a list of things that I was just like, wow. And one thing at a time, I said, I don't want to be this kind of person anymore. All right, Maya, how are we going to change that? What process are you going to put in place where this doesn't happen anymore, where you don't participate in this, or you don't allow people to bring this to you? And then I went on and set up a process. And every day I worked on that until it became like second nature to me. And the more I did that, the more I saw my life change, and the more I saw me change, which was so important. I was becoming the person I always wanted to be. I thought I was that person before, but when I did the work, I found out I wasn't even close to being who I am today. And I'm still doing work and still growing. And I love the way my life is blooming and transforming. I have fruit, good fruit, that is being bared in my life. And not only do I see it, but others see me. Even people who don't even know me see it. So that is amazing. That is the reward you get when you deal with self-examination. So take responsibility for the things you've done. You're going to have to eat it. Because if you don't, it's going to come and eat you up. Every seed you drop is going to be ate up by a worm or a bird. It's not going to grow. It's not going to do prosper. It's not going to do anything, right? Because you haven't done anything to nurture that soil, to give it the good nurturing it needs, the fertilizer it needs to grow. You are just smothering it, or you're just throwing it out there for the birds to eat. And you're wondering why are the fruits of my labor not out there? Why are things not going the way I thought they were going to go, right? So you have to do the work. You have to till the ground. You have to change your way of thinking and what you put inside you. You have to change it all. Some of this is just going back over what I said on the other video, but it is so true, right? So once you do that, a step I found later on that I needed to take was forgiveness of myself. I did a lot of things in my past, especially when I was like a single mom. And not that they were all bad. It was just things that maybe should have been done a different way. Maybe situations I shouldn't have been in. Now at my age and the work that I've done, I had to go back and forgive myself. One of the ways I did that was I wrote a letter to my old self. Actually, I wrote 2 letters. One letter for, when I was younger to high school. And I forgave myself for a lot of things that I was critical and hard on myself. But I found that, those were just lessons. It was okay. It was okay. There's no reason for me to keep thinking about those things. I can't change it. And I was young, and it was, those are the times in your life where you learn those lessons, right? So I wrote a letter to my younger self, and I forgave her for all of the things that was bothering me as an adult. And I took that letter. I was going to burn it, but, one day I'll tell you about this story when I burned down my microwave. So I don't burn things too. I do burn my sage, but I don't burn things too often. And so I thought maybe I shouldn't burn the letter. So with every intention, I put it in the envelope. I addressed it to my younger self. And I closed my eyes and I started ripping the envelope, and I just saw all of those emotions dissolving and going away, and cutting cords and cutting ties and ripping off. Those things didn't belong to me. I forgave myself and it was okay. And then I wrote another letter for the middle part of my life, from my 20s to my early 40s, right? So I wrote a letter because single mom and choices I made, and I didn't have any guidance. My mom wasn't, I didn't have no adults. When I say no adult, zero adults. I was doing this on my own. God blessed me with people who would come in and give me what I needed at certain points when I was at my lowest low. But then they did what they needed to do, and then they would disappear. And I was on my own, and I made a lot of mistakes. But my kids were always taken care of. They were always, one thing I did know is that I needed to always have a job. So I worked. I worked my butt off. They never wanted for anything. I made sure I was able to take care of my kids. But there was a lot of things that I just didn't know because I never had an adult to show me or teach me. And so I was making all these mistakes, all these crazy and dangerous choices. The fact that I'm sitting here today is amazing. God really kept me, hidden me, placed me and covered me, because boy, when I think back, I'm like, oh, that I can't believe I did that. But I was young. I was naive, and I didn't have anyone. How was I supposed to know that I was making all of these mistakes? So I wrote a letter to myself, and I forgave myself for all of those things that I did. And in my early 20s, when my kids, once they grew up and they graduate high school, I wrote them letters and I told them, and and I was sorry for a lot of things that went on that I just didn't see, because even in that, being a single mom, you get lonely. You're by yourself. You can't really do anything. Things get tiring. It's the same humdrum. It seems like everything is just waiting on you. So, sometimes you just make some choices that's crazy. Sometimes you're living life so fast. I know I raised my kids, and I know I raised them good and gave them great morals and values. But if you ask me the time that I spent when they were younger, I really don't have those memories, because I was so busy working. I was so busy moving fast, trying to make sure that we were okay. So I did write a letter to myself, and that second letter, I did the same as the first. I tore it up and I visualized all of that just dropping. It no longer belongs to me. I did what I could do with the tools that I had, right? So in that, I celebrate the things that I did do. I celebrate that I raised my children. I celebrate that I had a job and I kept a job and I went to school. I celebrate those things, all the accomplishments that I did do within that time with them. I do. I celebrate that. And I let the rest go. It is what it is. I was not given the tools. What are you going to say? You want me to build a house, but no one's given me a hammer. I don't even know what a hammer looks like, but I need to go out and I need to build this thing, right? I didn't have the tools. Forgive yourself. Some of us were not given the tools that we need to get through this life. And not always because no one was there. Sometimes the people who are there with you, they don't have the tools. They don't have the tools to give to you. So you go out and you don't have the tools, And it's nobody's fault. Sometimes that's just how life is, and we want to get upset and we want to blame our parents, and we want to blame our teachers, and we want to blame. Everybody is human. We are all struggling. We're all learning, and no one has a complete tool set. No one has a complete tool set. So while people are out here trying to blame others for this and that, number one, you're not taking responsibility for yourself. Number two, you have to recognize that you probably don't even have the tools to do what you're asking someone else to do. And three, realize they might not have the tools to do what you're asking them to do. Right? Sometimes we want our husbands to go out and do certain things. Think in your mind, did he grow up with a father? Did he grow up with any men in the house? Does he have the tools that he needs? Was he able to find a mentor somewhere later on in life to give him a few of those tools? Or some of those tools you're going to have to band together and get together. Just like in a video game, you're finding those tools, right? In a video game, life is the same way. So I have some tools that my husband doesn't have. He has tools that I don't have. And then both of us are missing tools, and we're willing to go on a journey together to get those tools that we need to move forward. So like in my marriage, finances was something that wasn't taught to me, wasn't taught to my husband. We come together and we're like, we want to change the trajectory of how our families look at money. So what did me and my husband do? We said, we're going to go get these tools. We got books, we read, we go on YouTube, we take classes, we pay for classes, we invest in ourselves. We say, we're going to learn to do this. Then we step out. We invest in the stock market, startup companies. We're taking a chance because we want to get those tools and we want to pass those tools on to the next generation so they can't say, oh, I don't have those tools. I don't know what that is, you know? So, and there's so many different tools. Finances is just one, but there's so many different tools that a lot of us wasn't taught in life. And you can't blame your parents. Your parents are a vessel that got you here. They didn't get a book of instructions. When you were born, they were going through their own traumas. They were going through their own hardships. And now they have a baby. They're trying to take care of you and do what they feel is right for you, depending on their environment, their family, their religion, their mindset, their emotions. And so sometimes it doesn't always look good, you know, because they're human. Just because they're your parents and they had you, do not make them superheroes. It doesn't mean they know everything. They were just a vessel to get you here. You got here because you got a purpose. There is a drive. You are here on an assignment, and you just happen to come here in this realm through these two people. It does not give you the right to put the blame on them for every little thing that happened in your life. For tools that they did not have to give to you, for things that they didn't know how to teach you because it wasn't given to them. Sometimes we have to step back and really look at what's going on. Now, there are some situations where, and I hate to bring it up, even child molestation. You know, I hear stories that mom knew. Sometimes, and we can just throw child molestation anytime. Sometimes our parents go through traumas. Sometimes they live a life that maybe they haven't told you about when they were little, what their parents did or what their family did. And for some reason, that toxic curse just keeps appearing. They may even know it's wrong, but some way inside of them, it's like, okay, this is just how it is. It happened to me, it'll go on and it'll happen to them. And, you know, not everybody thinks that way, but I know that there are cases where that's just, unfortunately, they have been traumatized. And sometimes people can be traumatized and get stuck in that one place. And whatever their mindset was in that one place that trauma hit, they live there forever. And it's not their fault. When you have a trauma that happens, and I know this because I had a trauma that happened to me and I was stuck for 7 years. So I know you can be stuck for a long time, and you can be stuck for the rest of your life, that trauma on for the rest of your life. It was by the grace of God that I came out of mine. So I know that there are people that can get stuck in their trauma and can't move forward. And when they're stuck, even though it looks like they are living a life, even though they're having children and they're getting married, that trauma is responsible for a lot of decisions that they make. And it's not always healthy for the rest of the people that are surrounding them. And they just think that this is, I don't want to say it's normalized. Sometimes they recognize that it's wrong, but that's just where they're at. That's just where they're at. And so understanding that, You can understand people more. Understanding that and stepping back and looking, you don't know the story of every person. I don't care if it looks like they are living the high light of life. You don't know their story, and even those that have the biggest smile may have the biggest pain. You see all of these actors out here who have committed suicide, and you would think, man, they had it all, right? Why would you do that? You had it all. Because what we do as watchers of entertainment, we see the outside. You had the cars, the clothes, the money, the women, right? You had it all. Why would you just let that go? Why would you let it go? Because all of that stuff means nothing if you have no hope, no peace, if you can't see light at the end of the tunnel, if that pain is so great that you can't even enjoy these things we sit here and wish we had, right? So when you deal with other people, deal with them in kindness, deal them with humility, because you do not know why it is that they make those choices that they make. You don't know that if they have the tools to deal with that situation, their first reaction might be to run. Because if I don't have a gun, I'm not going to step in this fight, right? Don't make me do this because I've never done this before. I've never even seen it done before. So, what I want you to do and understand is that not only be kind and forgiving to yourself, be kind and forgiving to others. Now, when I say forgive, it does not mean that you have to rebuild that relationship. I have forgiven people. They might not even know I've forgiven people. I have written letters to some people, not expecting anything back. Some weren't even had my return address on it. I just wanted to share with them the positive in their life and why they were in my life in the first place, the light that I seen. And then I went on to apologize for any parts, and I would write the parts that I played in whatever it was in our relationship that we had. And it could be friends, it could be exes, it could be whatever. But mother-in-laws, all of it. Some of them got letters, and I put it all, and then that was my forgiveness. I let it go. Now, it did not mean that I was going to go back and call them and be like, hey, what's going on? Let's go out to lunch. No, it was a closure I needed to forgive me on my part and to let them know that, hey, I recognize the good in you. And yeah, our relationship didn't work out for whatever reason. But you're still a good person. And I'm sorry that this happened. And I'm sorry of these things that I said or these things that I did to you. No matter what happened, you didn't deserve that. And I let it go. And I let it go. Right? That's simple. It doesn't mean that you have to rebuild these relationships because you forgave them. You take that lesson, because that's what it was, right? And you put it in your toolbox. And the next time it pops up, because you did the work inside, you know how to deal with that. You know how to walk away. You know how to hold your tongue. You know how to love someone from afar. You know how not to start a relationship with that person. You know how to block a phone number. You start to learn that you are a priority, that you are worthy of goodness, and that you only give that goodness out to those who deserve it. You're not just going to go out there and feed what does the Bible say? Feed your pearls to swine? What? I'm going to give all my goodness and just throw it in the pig pen and expect something wonderful to magnificently just appear and manifest out of that? Doesn't work that way, right? It does not work that way. So now that we know that we can forgive without rebuilding those relationships, we can forgive without going back. We can forgive and understand that not everyone has the tools in their toolbox. So it's easier to just let things go. If and then we recognize that we don't always have the tools, and we recognize when you come together with another person and try and build a relationship, it's possible to go search for those tools together, right? So there's lots of options out there. So basically today it could be you again. I can't stress this enough, to look inside of yourself, to be honest and truthful. You know, what are you doing in your life? What are you allowing in your life? The choices that you are making, what is it bringing back to you? When you spit those words out, what comes back? When you did that action, what comes back? And not only what comes back, how did you feel when it came back? What kind of feeling did it leave you with? And then you can sit back and say, hey, does this feel like a pig pen? Does it feel like I'm wallowing in dirt? You know, doesn't feel like these things are elevating me. Everything seems to be getting worse around me. That's how you know maybe maybe it's you, right? Maybe it's you. So just be humble, be kind, do the work. Self-examination, number one. And when you start there and being truthful and honest with yourself, I promise you, you will start to see change. And for those who are stuck in trauma, those who have the spirit of anger or madness or depression, those who see nothing but darkness around them, from someone who has been there, from someone who, man, contemplated suicide and homicide, and it was so dark where I was. And I can relate and I understand. A lot of people are like, I don't understand how somebody could think suicide or homicide. You are blessed that you've never been in that dark spot. You are blessed that you've never seen the pitch black of darkness, to feel that lonely, I mean loneliness. And you truly believe no one on earth understands the pain that you are experiencing at that moment. It is real. It is real. So for those that are going through that and you've watched this video, understand and know that I've been there. I I have seen some things. My anger was so bad, and I am going to do a video about that it manifested things. That's how I know emotions are spirits. It manifested things. Things not only that I was seeing, but people would come around me and see it. That's how dense and tense it was. You could cut it with a knife. So for those of you that are going through, don't think that I say these things about dealing with yourself lightly. I don't say them lightly. I know pain is real. I know depression is real. I know suicidal and homicidal and depression thoughts are real. I know not having hope and seeing anything good for your tomorrow is real. And let me tell you, 7 years I was in there. The fact that I'm sitting here today, 7 years I was in that spot and I was brought out. And believe me, if I would have done any of the things that were in my mind, I wouldn't be living this marvelous life that I am living today. And when I say I am happy, I am happy. Not only am I happy, I have a joy in me. There are no words to explain. 7 years of darkness, if I would have done any of those things that I was thinking and contemplating on, I would not be sitting here today. So for those of you that are in that darkness, please, please hold on, because it does get better. Don't let anyone steal your joy. Don't just hand over your life. Don't take another's. Hold on. That light is trying to get to you. And I know it's hard right now. I know it's hard. Keep moving. Keep being grateful for every step and breath you are allowed to take, because it is a gift. And if you are still here, you have a purpose. And whatever this darkness is that is clouding you, it is trying to take away your purpose, because it knows when you finally get in that light, you are going to be brighter than the sun and you will be unstoppable. I am doing things I never thought I would do. I am out here living my life and I am enjoying every bit of it. And I want that for each and every one of you that watches this video. Be kind to one another. Be understanding. Be humble. Die to yourself daily. Let not this flesh overcome and have you out here looking crazy. You are a blessing and your life is a testimony to someone. I don't care. Someone's always watching what you do, whether they're little, whether they're old. They're always watching. Someone's watching you. You are somebody's light. Do not snuff out yourself too early. Don't think that nobody cares. Don't think that nobody will miss you. You are loved. And I just hope that me sharing this inspires someone to just push forward. You won't be in this space always. 7 years was a long time for me, I thought, but some people, they've been in it even longer. And some people just couldn't take it anymore. And they had to leave this realm. They felt they had to leave this realm. And all the promises of that life that was supposed to flourish through all of the lessons they were learning through that darkness. Because believe me, there's lessons being learned. When I came out, I had a array of lessons that I didn't even know I was learning in that darkness. God has a purpose for you. He has a plan. It is to prosper you, to move you forward, to give you joy and peace. So honeybees, again, I thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for you coming on and watching this video. If you like what I share, please just like, subscribe, share it to others, and just know that I'm praying for you. I'm thinking about you. And I understand that this realm is hard sometimes. It's not easy to maneuver through, but you can do it. And I am living proof. I really am. And as I do more videos, I will share more about the things that I've gone through. But right now, I just want you to really work on self. I really want you to build your boundaries. I really want you to get the tools that you need, whether that be, like I said, me and my husband, finances, but it might be that you need to go out and talk to a professional to get counseling. Maybe it's that you need to journal. Maybe whatever tool you need. Whatever you need to help you learn the next step in your life, please do not be afraid to get it. And don't be afraid to sacrifice sometimes your friends, family, sometimes your job, sometimes your environment, whatever is holding you back, whatever is you're scared of, whatever it is, let it go and move forward. You only get one shot at this life. Live it to the fullest. Do what you gotta do. Enjoy yourself, but do it in a way that is classy, honorable, respectful. Do it that way. You don't have to do and put on the garments of this world, this realm. It'll always have you out here looking crazy. And someone always has something to say. And someone will probably have something to say about this video, and that's fine. If this video is for you, it's for you. If it's not, it's not. I'm just sharing my thoughts, and my thoughts might not be everybody's cup of tea. But I'm going to tell you one thing. I walked through this thing. God gave me some steps, and I walked through this thing. And the first one was self evaluation. And let me tell you, my life did change. My life is continuing to change, and I am living a beautiful life. I don't have to have $1 million in the bank to have a beautiful life. I don't have to wear name brand clothes to have a beautiful life. I am blessed and highly favored. I am covered, and I am a hidden jewel within my Father. I know my life has changed. You hear me? I know my life has changed, and I want the same for you. So God bless, honeybees. Please give out respect, love, honor, kindness, and humility. Remember to die to self, and remember to check me out next Sunday. All right, until then, you guys have a wonderful, wonderful week. You have great things in store for you. Be blessed. Be blessed because you are blessed. Bye.